morning to everybody and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. club. And it's Tuesday, another, you could say, crappy Sydney day because it's overcast, but it's a beautiful day from a weather perspective. In terms of the temperature, there's a gentle, from what appears there to be a westerly breeze coming through. It's mild but overcast. Last night we had the opportunity, or some had the opportunity, to see the Bethlehem star, a planetary phenomenon where two planets came together to form a bright star in the sky. I forget which two planets they were. It could have been Jupiter and Saturn, I'm not sure. But what was supposed to happen last night was a phenomenon which won't be repeated for another 800 years. So I was looking forward to seeing the Bethlehem star last night. But as you expect, the story of my life, the story of everybody's life when you live in Sydney was, especially during summer, was that it was overcast and there was no chance, absolutely no chance of seeing the Bethlehem star last night. Anyway, let's go on and do a walk and talk. And today I'm going to talk to you about a book summary that I read a year ago. And it popped up on my Facebook memories this morning. That's why I absolutely love Facebook, because as a productivity tool, as a perpetual diary, and as a way to document your life, there's nothing better. So last year I read a book summary, I documented the book summary, and I placed emojis next to the points that I found that were interesting. And I make a point every year to revisit the book summary and to read it again and to make further comment. So last year I had a written version of the book summary, whereas this year I'm going to embellish it with a vlog of the book summary. Anyway, the book that I'm referring to is entitled Getting Results the Agile Way, and the author is J Meier. J Meier, who wrote this very interesting book on getting results the agile way. So as you can expect, or as you can probably work out, the key theme to this book is to be flexible, to be agile, and not to be too rigid in what you do and how you do it, but to always be willing and able to change in order to get to where you want to get to. So the author kicks off the book by making that very brief statement. And he said, well, they said, I don't know what J stands for, could be a male name, could be a female name, but the author says, don't set rigid goals, but keep testing and adjusting along the way so that you get to where you want to get to, and you achieve what you want to achieve without being influenced along the way and being hard-nosed and hard-headed. Because a lot of us, we are hard-headed and we start something, and even though we get to a point where we realise that the goalposts may have shifted, we continue to try and prove ourselves right and basically do ourselves harm along the way. And not only do ourselves harm, but do harm to others around us who get caught up in our vortex of hard-headedness. Xerokephalia is what it's called in Greek. And when I was a little boy, my mother would always say, "Repedimo,
is exerocephalos. What she says, I'm hard-headed. She says if you're too hard-headed, you're going to break your head one day. So great advice from my mother, and I still have a lot to learn because my wife tells me that all the time, and also my children. It won't be long before my granddaughter starts saying that I'm a xerocephalo as well. So the next point that the author talks about is a cracker, is an absolute cracker. And it's to have a bias, always have a bias. If you're going to have biases in your life, and we have a lot of people that surround us who are infected with lots of different biases, not viruses, but biases, which are probably just as bad, if not worse. There's confirmation biases, and you name it. They'll stick to things and they'll try and prove you wrong. They'll try and invalidate you. But what the author here says, if you're going to have a bias in your life, the most important bias to have is to have a bias for action. And it's a key mindset that we need to try and adopt and to incorporate into our life, and to spread it around to other people. Have a bias for action. Keep moving, keep doing things, because the only thing that will ensure that you stay relevant, stay connected, is to be on the move all the time, and not to be a sitting target. So keep moving and keep doing, because through creation you add value in life. Which leads us on to the other point, believe it or not, which is focus on how much value you can create from what you do. And once again, there are lots of people out there who do absolutely nothing. And not only do they do absolutely nothing, but they discourage the people around them from doing something as well. So steer clear of the negativity. Steer clear of the FUD, the Mr. Fuds, the Mr. Elva Fuds, or the Mrs. Elva Fuds, the ones who spend all their time trying to convince you, trying to invalidate you, trying to get you to live in fear, uncertainty and doubt. So focus on how much value you can create, and the value you can create comes from the things that you do, not the things that you don't do. So I always love coming here, so please bear with me. And then the author says something else which is pretty special as well, and I think we've talked about this time and time again, but it's always good to learn and relearn, because life is a dance, is a dance. Life is a dance of learning and relearning. Just because you read a book once doesn't mean that you know it. Just because you learnt something once doesn't mean that you know it. You just need to keep on doing it, keep on perfecting it until it sinks in. I remember my spiritual father telling me a story about how one of the great church fathers, St. John Chrysostomos, was criticised for always having the same sermon, or always using the same sermon to his parish at Constantinople, the great church of Hagia Sophia. And he would say, the reason why I have the same sermon is I'm waiting for people to change, and when people change, I will change my sermon. But his sermon back then was always about love and charity, I think it was. But another powerful lesson. So we also go on to talk about the importance of management, and the author says that it's more important to manage your energy than to manage your time. That's a different spin on things. So energy management, he says, is the key, or they say is the key.
because you need to have energy. You need to be able to explode into doing things at the right time. So there's no use running yourself ragged all the time and being tired or being listless. You need to manage your energy flows so you direct your energy to the right place at the right time, and to focus that energy on the most important work, because once you focus your energy on what is important to you, not necessarily urgent to others, but important to you, once you focus your energy on the things that are important, everything else will follow. So rest assured that if you're focusing your energy on the right things, on the important things, then everything else will follow. That's a powerful, powerful point. And you need to be able to assess, what is the most important thing to do at this point in time. And to understand what is the most important thing, you need to ask the question, what has the biggest impact right now? What's the most productive thing I can do right now that'll have the greatest positive impact? They also mention the importance of reflection, weekly reflection, and to ask yourself what went well, what didn't, what did we achieve, and what do we need to do in the future, and to know your hot spots, to know what's important, what you need to do today, and to focus on that one thing. And the next thing that they talk about is really, really powerful. They talk about the importance of setting maximums and minimums in your life, and to predetermine this. And what they say is, what's the maximum you're going to do? What's the maximum price you're going to pay for your career? But also, what's the minimum you're going to do for your personal life? So how low are you going to go in your personal life before you say that's enough? And with your career, what's the maximum price you're going to pay? So that's a really powerful one, because we never ever think about that. We just keep on plodding along, keep on getting thrashed or diminished, and never think of when we're going to say enough is enough. And on that very topic, the author also mentions that it's important to set a maximum minimum time that you're going to spend on projects and activities, because if you don't set those maximums and minimums, other people will. So you don't want to be a victim to other people's planning, because you want to lead your life, you want to be proactive, and you want to be in control as best you can of the things that you can control. And another thing that the author talks about is a powerful question that you can ask yourself. If today were Friday, what would I be most happy about, in terms of the things that I've done this week? And that'll help you understand what is important to you in your life. And the next thing is really, really powerful. It's to try and incorporate into your life a thing called the rule of 3. And that's to have 3 goals a day that you want to achieve, which turn into 3 bigger goals for the week, which lead into the 3 goals for the month, the quarter, and the year. So if you're living your life in a perpetual power of 3, then chances are that you're going to be kicking some significant goals in your life and living a full and fulfilled life at the same time. So something to consider, something to try and take on board, to try and set yourself every day 3 goals. What are 3 things I can do today that'll improve my life and have the biggest impact?
and work throughout the day to knock off those 3 goals, starting with the most important, then the second most important, and third most important. And if you're continually doing that, then you're continually adding value to your life. And if you're continuing to add value to your life, then obviously you're going to be continuing to add value to the life of the people around you. In terms of task management, the author talks about the importance of doing the worst things first, and usually the worst things first are the things which are the most important things. So learn to embrace and love doing the worst things first, and to not shy away from it. The author also talks about finding your power hour. We've all got different ebbs and flows of energy and inspiration throughout the day. Some people are morning people, other people are an afternoon people, but we're all different. So what is a good practice to get into is to start journaling and identifying your energy flows, and when you're at your peak, when you're at your trough, and when you're just bouncing back. And you'll find that we're all pretty habitual in terms of that sort of thing in our lives, but you need to understand and know what yours is, what your cycle is, and also to know what the cycle is of the people around you. Say, for example, your wife. If your wife's not a morning person, if she's not at her peak in the morning, then you don't want to be annoying them at a time which is not resourceful and working for them. And you know, we all learn we all learn the hard way as to what works for the people around us. But take note, you know, journal it, work it out, because we're all habitual in nature, as we know, and we need to understand what works for us and to manage that as best we can, but also to understand what works for our children, our parents, our partners, our work peers. And once you work it out, then you know you'll have more fun and be more productive with your social engagements. And the author then talks about another thing which is really, really good. I love this one here. And they said that inspiration follows starting. So the secret is to get started. And if you get started, regardless of what you want to do, once you get started, then the inspiration will follow. It doesn't work the other way around. You know, a lot of us think that, oh, you know, I'm waiting to get inspired, I'm waiting for the inspiration. But inspiration will never come unless you invite it. And the way you kindle and rekindle inspiration is by being action-oriented, having a bias for action and doing things. And once you do things, then that will start firing off your energy sources, will get you excited, will get you motivated, and will get you moving in a direction. And once you get moving in a direction, just like that supply ferry over there, then you start to build momentum. And once you build momentum, you'll start making progress. And the more progress you make, the more excited you get, and you get over the initial hump. And then you find yourself cruising nicely and getting on your way. Have a checklist to make sure that you get through your tasks, because that's key, and there is a syntax and an order that you need to get things done, in order to make progress, and to chunk things down, to break things down into their simplest forms, so that you can to get through it. And in terms of productivity, the author mentions the importance of not task switching. So if you're doing something, stick to it until you get it done is, I guess, the key message. So don't task switch is a key message from this book. And something that we've talked about before time and time again is that the best way to learn something is to teach it. So we all need to become teachers of our craft, teachers of our knowledge and wisdom,
and one way of doing it is to become a vlogger. So I encourage all and sundry to give it a go. It's easy. Just get yourself an iPhone, a selfie stick and a mic and start talking. Just go on a walk and talk. And the way I do it is I don't edit it, I don't prepare, I don't do anything of that. All I simply do is just start to talk, and you'll be amazed at how things just flow. And of course, it's difficult at first. It's hard at first. When I first started, it was very, very tricky. But after you do your first dozen or 2 dozen, then you start to get a little bit better. You learn how to start. You start to build a routine in terms of how you start your vlogs, and you've got a routine in terms of how you end your vlogs. And then all you need to do is just chat. Just do a casual chat like you're talking to your friends. And the best way that I find of doing it is just to do a walk and talk, and that way you're just showing off the beautiful highlights of where you are, and you're just casually having a chat to a friend. Anyway, the last couple of points in the book, the author talks about the importance of having discipline, and that discipline is just like a muscle. The more you use it, the better it gets, the stronger it gets. And the importance of focusing on effort and not outcomes. And the author then finishes off with reminding us of the 3 mindsets that we need to incorporate in our daily lives. And the 3 mindsets are the mindset of abundance, the mindset of positivity, and the mindset of growth. And if you understand and appreciate and embrace that we live in a world of abundance, there's more than enough for all of us, and that we need to be positive, we needed to manifest the good things in our lives, and we need to also understand that we can continue to grow and develop, so to have a mindset of growth. So there you go, that's the book in a nutshell. Thank you very much for joining me on Jim's 5 a.m. Club, and we'll finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay positive, and most importantly, let's take some of these lessons from this wonderful book. The wonderful book entitled Getting Results the Agile Way, and to remember to not be too rigid in what we do, and to be flexible, and to chop and change, and to learn how to surf. Wait for the wave sets to start pounding in, and then get up on your board and do whatever you have to do to make the most of each and every wave. Let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, take care, and I look forward to coming to you again tomorrow from a different location with a different message, a message of empowerment to hopefully get us through the morning, get us through the day, and to get us thinking, to live shared experiences wherever we can, because living a solo, isolated life isn't quite as interesting as what it can be, but to try and share and teach whatever we can, whenever we can. And that's about it. So thank you very much for joining me, and I look forward to chatting to you tomorrow from Jim's 5 a.m. Club. Bye for now.